In this video, I'm going to show you how to graph through Google Sheets. I have made a separate video on how to graph in Excel, but some students are using Google Sheets instead. So here we go. This is part 2 of the phenyl salicylate freezing point lab. So this is the determination of the absolute value temperature. Now I'm going to show you how to graph and how to get the equation of the line and the intercept, the x-intercept, which you will need to know to complete the lab. First, I've entered some data here. This is just fictitious. I have my x-axis values here and then y in the second column. Note that for part 1 of that salicylate lab, the temperature is the y-axis, but for part 2 it is actually going to be in the x-axis. And then the length, you will measure it in centimeters, but you will need to convert it to millimeters to make sure that it is correct. Okay. If you click on that first cell there, we want to highlight the data. So if you click on that and then hold it, then you can kind of slide your mouse and drag until all the data has been highlighted, and you'll know that it's highlighted because they'll have this light blue color and there's a border around all of that. That tells me that all of the cells have been highlighted. Go under Insert, click on that, and then you're going to select Chart. As you see, it already has constructed a chart for you, and the default is the scatter chart. It already has picked. Now you can change this up. You can put a line chart there. We don't really want the column chart, but you can pick a smoother line chart, etc., etc. For our purposes, a scatter chart or scatter plot is just fine. And then we are going to customize this a little bit, okay, where we have the title, the chart title. You can change that if you don't want to call it this. You can highlight it here and change it. You can change the size, the color of the font. I'd like to change the alignment. I want it center aligned, and so that fixed the title. Now I can pick the axes. So horizontal, I can change the minimum, maximum values, the color, etc. So I can play around with those, horizontal, vertical. Note that it has those labeled, but if you wanted to change those, you could as well. Like here, instead of chart title, I could pick the horizontal axis title, and then I can change it here, or the vertical, etc., etc. Okay, that is kind of the aesthetic part of this. If I want to change, or the next part of it, figure out how to find the best fit line, then you go under Series, so you click that, and you scroll down till you hit Trend Line. And you can hit the trend line here, and you can see it added this best fit line through my data. You can show the R-squared. That tells you how well the fit is, but I'm not as interested in that necessarily for the purposes of our lab. If you had different data points, it picks the linear trend, but you can pick an exponential, you could pick a polynomial, you could pick a logarithmic, etc., depending on the type of graph that you have. But for us, the linear fit is fine. Then under Label, it's custom here, but if you click on that, it's got this option to use equations. So if you click on that, it will give you the equation of this line, which is 0.302 times x plus 46.3. This is important because you can actually solve this for the value of x. So you can find the x-intercept, which means my y value is 0. You can take this equation, set it equal to 0, and solve for x. That will give you that x-intercept which you will need. Or an easier way to do that would be to pick a cell here and hit equal. Then do intercept. So type intercept, and you can see that it picks that already. And it gives you the way it wants you to enter the data. So first, let's see, and then it tells you exactly how to enter them. If you do the y column first, put a comma and then the x column, what it's telling you is the intercept of the y-axis. So let's try that. Let's do the y column first, put a comma, and then highlight the x-axis, and then close parentheses and hit equal. So you can see it gives you 46.3, which is this value right here. This in the y-axis, so when the line hits the y-axis, that's where my x is 0. If x is 0, this term falls out, and what I have left is 46.3, which is that value over here. However, for the purposes of our lab, we don't want this value. We want the value, so if I were to extend this line all the way to where it crosses the horizontal axis, x-axis, that is, what is that value? What is the x value? That's what I want. So instead of having the y-intercept or highlighting the y column first, and then the x column last, what you can do is highlight the x column first, put a comma, and then highlight the y, close parentheses, and hit equal. And you can see that now I have minus 151.5, which is the value where of x, where this line, if I extended it, would cross the x-axis or the temperature axis. This is the value that you want to get for this lab. This is the experimentally determined absolute value, absolute temperature value from your data that you collected. This is the number that you're going to compare to the literature value. It is a negative value, and it should be a negative value. In Excel, there's a way to extend this line, to extrapolate it to where you can visually see it. I have not found an easy way to do that on Google Sheets, but what I want to see in your lab report is this graph, so you can highlight it and then go under Edit, Copy, and then paste this into the Word document of the lab template, or you can actually save this spreadsheet and upload both the lab report, the Word document, and the Excel or the Google Sheets document as well. The assignment should allow you to upload several files, but I want to see if you've done it this way with Google Sheets. I want to see this value, and I want to see the graph with the equation of the line.